So I'm Josh Starr. I'm the CEO of PDK International, and I've been CEO for 2 years.
Equity at its best.
This is part one of our interview with Joshua Starr from PDK International, and the question was, how do we improve public education?
So we poll parents. We've been doing it for 49 years. We've been asking parents what they want to see from their schools. And it's really clear to me that what parents want to see is not what's happening in schools. So let me give you some examples. The relentless focus on academics as the sole indicator of student achievement does not jive with what parents want. So, for example, parents and the public in general want to see more of an emphasis on career and technical classes and skills, even at the expense of honors classes and AP classes. Folks don't really see the value of test scores as an indicator of school quality as much as policymakers do. Although they're necessary, but they're not sufficient. They're sort of a floor, not a ceiling, so to speak. Parents want to see more extracurricular programs. Mainly, the public wants to see more funding in schools. They really want to see more money going to teachers specifically. They want to see teachers' salaries raised. So there's on almost, I won't say every major issue, but most of them, what parents want to see in schools is not what policymakers and politicians and the reform community in many ways has been organizing around. So I think there's this kind of mystery on the part of many around how policy actually gets made. And I think that folks, unfortunately, don't have enough appreciation for how much their voice matters. School district policy, big P policy gets made by a school board, and it's recommended by a superintendent with, there's typically some kind of community engagement process, depending what the policy is. State legislators, there's obviously state policy as well that comes from state legislators, but policy can be, the impetus for good policy can come from people's involvement in the process. Now, I don't want to discount the interest groups, whether it's teachers' unions, whether it is folks that have a very specific interest in something like healthy foods for kids or later start times or whatever it may be. And they can organize very, very effectively. But a lot of policy gets made, policy gets made by school boards, and school boards are elected by the public. So the more that people are aware of what the policy considerations are within a school system, and then what the avenues are to interact with the superintendent, with the school board, et cetera, they can actually influence policy. So, look, you got to comply with the state and the federal laws, right? The regulations. You have to be able to check the boxes. But there's a lot more wiggle room than I think people think there is that can happen at the local level. And the more that families, students, advocates, community, et cetera, are involved in the process, the better off we are. I think it starts at the school level. I guess there are probably a couple different ways to start. One is at the school level. Really get to know your building principal, the teachers, the PTA, to kind of get a sense of what some of the issues are there. Most school districts at this point have they post their meeting agendas and something like board docs. You got to review them. I mean, it's kind of boring, but there's typically most school systems have a listserv where they send out updates and things like that. But school districts, usually on a website, you can sign up for a regular newsletter and something like that. You just got to start paying attention. You got to build it in. School board meetings can be boring as all heck, but they're actually a place where things get done, and you've got to attend board meetings and get to know folks. Board members are typically responsive. I mean, they're responsive to their constituents, and if you email them or reach out, as long as you're respectful, folks will pay attention. And then there might be other groups within the jurisdiction. It depends. Like for example, Montgomery County, where I was superintendent, very robust student voice and student government. Other places don't have that. So it depends. Local NAACP might be really involved. Local Rotary Club might be really involved. You kind of got to get a sense of what's happening at the local level. But starting at the school and going to the district website and seeing if there's a regular update are typically good places to start. All you have to do is Google me, and a whole bunch of stuff will come up. But you can find me. My Twitter handle is @JoshuaP.Starr. You can also go to pdkintl.org. That's Phi Delta Kappa. That's our website. And if you go to Clippings, which is a great site that houses all of my everything I've written, you can go to clippings.com and you can look me up and you can find all the things I've written. Or you can just go to pdkintl.org. The other great one for great resources on education is our website for Kappan Magazine, kappanonline.org.